Hi guys, I'm going to show you how to create a simple drop menu. There are a lot of different ways to do this. I'll show you a relatively simple way to create a drop menu. So I have two files on the desktop. I have dropmenu.html and I have styles.css. And so these are the two files that I'll be using. You can see here that I have all of the HTML necessary to create the drop menu. I have, of course, I'm linking to my style sheet here. I have my nav element, and then within that I have an unordered list, and so there are 5 list items there, but then within the coding list item I have another unordered list, and I've given it a class of submenu, and then I have HTML, CSS, JavaScript, PHP list items that are within that. Within my style sheet, all I have applied is the CSS reset, and so we will actually start coding. If you look, there, all of these are actually surrounded by like a blue outline. That's actually a feature of the brackets text editor, so do not be confused about that. And if you aren't using brackets, it's a great free option. I really like it, and it has a live preview, so as I make the changes it will show up here within this HTML window, or within this Chrome window. So first thing we want to do is we want to style our nav, and we will give it a position of relative. And I'm assuming that you understand this, or you wouldn't be attempting to create a drop menu. So I'm going to I'll actually set the max width to 1000 pixels. So at its largest it can be 1000 pixels, and I will set the height to, we'll do 50 pixels. Background gray, and we'll set the left and right margin to auto, and so that way things will be centered. And also I want to center the text within this nav, so text align. And this is just how you would start off creating a regular navigation. So if you look, this is what we have going on right here. Nothing major. Now one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and comment out this submenu. That way we can see what it looks like without it, and then because it will mess things up right now. So I'll just comment this out. And so yeah, we have that commented out. And let's actually style our list items now. And you can actually go nav, ul, li, it doesn't matter unless you add other list items. So it'll style the list items that are in our ul. And so first thing I just want to say list style none, or list style type, either way will work fine. And then we want to display these inline block. So we don't want them to be a block level element. We want them to actually be in line with each other, right? And then we will actually give it a line height of 50 pixels so that we can vertically center these items. Now we'll actually style our anchor tags that are within here. So you can see I'm actually stepping down the hierarchy, which is a little bit overkill, but it's fine. And I'll just make them white. And text decoration none. And padding. And now with padding, remember you can put in one value. If you do that, it will be applied to the left, right, top, bottom. You can put in 4 values, so top, right, bottom, left, in that order. Or you can put in 2 values, and the first one will be the top and the bottom. The second one would be the left and the right. So I'll just do 15 pixels on the left and the right, and you can see I have a menu now. Okay. So now what we want to do is we want to think about, let's go ahead and add a hover effect, just because I like to do that. And so to create a hover effect for my anchor tags, I don't know what we want to do here. I'll just make it color. We'll just change the color to light gray. And so now when we hover over, you can see we have just a little bit of hover effect. Yeah, I'm being very imaginative with my colors. So now we actually want to style our submenu, and of course, if you look back at this, I had commented out this unordered list, which is within the list item of coding. So let me remove the comments, and you can see that everything will break. And if you, I guess because it's white, you can see that it's pushed everything down. And so, which is the reason I'd commented it out. But now we want to actually style this. So we're going to access that unordered list using the sub menu class selector. And the big thing that we want to do right away is we're going to say, hey, don't display. So display none. So we're going to set this, and you can see everything's fixed now because we're hiding it using CSS. And I want to go ahead and give this a position of absolute. And it will be absolutely positioned based on the container that it's in. And what container is it in? Well, it's within an unordered list, which was within a nav. And so we'll use that. And again, there are different ways of doing this, and you'll see it different. I'll go ahead and set the width to 150 pixels. And so what happens is this submenu actually is the UL. Okay, remember this is actually the class for the UL, and it's actually going to inherit some line height, which can be weird. So let's remove that and set the background to, again, very imaginative, gray. Yeah, so cool. So now nothing's there, but what we want to do is let's style the list items now that are within the submenu UL. So I'm going to style these, and you need to go ahead, it would look better if you go ahead and set the width to the same as whatever you made the submenu. So I'm going to make it 150, that way it'll match. And then I want to set the height to something. I'll do 40, 45, I'll do 40. And set the line height to match it. That way it'll be vertically centered. So again, nothing's going to happen right now, but here's where the magic happens. So I think most of you probably understand this really well. You understand what's happening there, but what you might not understand is that we need to say, hey, when you hover over the list item, what we want to happen, and you can space here, but just use a wicket or angle bracket. So what we want to happen when you hover over this is we want to actually change the submenu. We want to change a submenu style rule, and if you're saying the way that it displays, you are 100% right. So we need to display this as a block level element when you hover over. And so now when we hover over coding, we actually have a submenu. And you can see it's as simple as that. And you can add things to this if you want, but it's working now. You can style it, you can make it however you want to make it. You can see that this actually inherits the hover effect. If you want to override that, you would just access these anchor elements using that submenu class and make sure that it's below these style rules, and you could give it a different hover effect if you wanted to. If you wanted to change the background as you hover over this, you would need to actually access the submenu LI hover. That way it gets the entire background. So like, say for example we wanted to make the background, I don't know, let's be crazy, pick a color called black. Yeah. So now you can see that we have a little background hover effect there. If you want to do something like access, so say for example we want to put like a bottom border at this. There are a lot of different ways you could do that. I think we could do it through the UL, but you could also use like the last child selector. So we could say sub menu li last child, so the pseudo selector, right? And so what this will do is this will access the last list item no matter how many. If you're familiar with nth child, where you actually put in whatever element it will be, but in this case this will access the last list item, and we can say, hey, add a bottom border to this, and I'll say 5 pixels solid black. And so now you can see that there's a black solid border there. That's pretty much all that I wanted to show you. This is a simple drop menu, and if you have any questions, leave a comment.